And this is the second part of the documentary following my mother. Basically, it's like a look into my upbringing. This is the sort of thing I had every day. I had this amazing woman, great knowledge, a good ancestry. She's brought up like myself, similar, surrounded by business and a lot of activities of how to stay ahead of life, stay ahead of the rat race, as they call it. So what you're going to see here now is the second part. This is after she decided to break free, live a life, live a dream, very ambitious, and she's striving to be the best she can be, never get settled. So although you might find that the interest rates might cause you have problems in the one market, which is a housing market, she had another side of business, which is the entertainment business, which is totally different again. Yeah, it's amazing. I feel really blessed to have such a strong-minded mother as a role model, and my father, who's a hard worker. From both parents, I'm learning what to do and what not to do.
So I then go after it with another partner, a silent partner, and we were able to have the building leasehold, and I started with that second business, which people who lived in Gloucester knew of it, because all the coaches that passed through Gloucester going to the Isle of Wight always stopped there for their lunch, and also on their way back they would stop for their evening meal. So it's nothing for me to have like 250 people seated at the time in that restaurant, because that's what we were insured for, and it used to be full to capacity on a Saturday and a Sunday. And Friday nights would have country and western, and in the weekdays, Tuesday night, we would have skittles, which the farmers used to support me. And I did very well with those two businesses, which I think I surprised even myself. But I did it as a woman, and a piece was written about me as Businesswoman of the Year, because I was the first black businesswoman in Gloucester. Of course, I had to pat myself on the back, because that's history for Gloucester, and that was something for my children to live up to. Because if mom can do it as a woman, my children knew then they could do anything they put their mind to.
So at what point did you start to have belief? Because I know that my father joined you soon after. He became deputy manager. He didn't believe even until the point you start to make a very good profit.
Yes. When I proved to the world and my husband that I could do it, he decided, okay, I will come and work for you. And I then employed him, because I wasn't going to have my husband joining me and taking all the credit when all the work was done. I think that was only fair. So I employed him to help manage the bar lounge. And that's where he stayed, with me being his boss. But he was quite happy, because he had a salary like everyone else, and he had to go through me in order to make a decision. So I was happy with that.
When you get a silent business partner, they're investing the money into you, and you've got full reins. You can actually do what you like, and it allows you to grow, allows you to push forward. Their investment is in you, your mindset, your motivation, your determination, and as you reap the rewards financially, so does a silent partner. With this rule, you'll find that always check the laws and regulations. They're always constantly changing, and in the same area you can find it where you're allowed to or permitted to do certain things and could be changing the next. As you realise that sometimes you can have a license to midday, you have to apply for a license to go to 3 o'clock, or even 24-hour license. These can make a difference on your business. Also, it can actually destroy your business. The other thing as well is while you're doing that, besides the location, you've got to also check, is it accessible? If you're catering for young people, can they get there? And if they get there, the main thing is how easy it is to travel there. Is it by foot? Is it by car? By coach? And it's got to be, what's your target? I remember where the restaurant was. It was a cattle market, so there's a lot of farmers. It was like all over the Gloucestershire and the area. And what I found is, like, I remember targeted these people. So events at the restaurant was mainly geared towards them. I remember having country western nights. Being black West Indian, I remember holding an Afro-Caribbean night. So for the youngsters, I remember having a soul night. She was always constantly looking for ways of generating. She had a day free. She's to find something new. I don't really didn't see her fail really in any of her eyes. She must have done at some point, but she seemed like she had a minus touch. She'd always do something or create something, have an event, and then it would just take off. Amazing. The next stage for my mother's life was she's branching out. Obviously, she had properties. That was her first stage, which with a hotel. Then she had a few smaller properties. There was I remember a setback where she had a property, and I found out the other one was my father's on Vauxhall Road. This is where his business was, a shop, which actually became my first personal gym. And they made a few mistakes. So you're going to hear her talk about what and what not to do.
Okay. There was one going on Vauxhall Road where your dad had his business, and there was also one going on Conduit Street, I'm trying to recall. But there were these two houses, and he decided to get the one in Vauxhall Road, and I decided to get the other house, which I think we all make mistakes, because I then rented this lovely house to some young people, and they made so much trouble and noise that I was reported. And after going to court for something that I wasn't guilty of and had to pay a fine, I decided, no, I'm not for this. So I gave them notice and sold the house, which I regretted.
Yeah.
If I had kept it 3 months longer, the property market went sky high. So I lost out there.
But they were a friend of the family, was the biggest mistake.
But they were friends of the family, and we didn't want to upset our friends.
So you don't mix business and friends.
Never mix business with friendship.
Yeah.
And my husband ended up doing the same thing. He sold his as well because it was giving him trouble. But if I had to encourage my children, now I say to them, yes, one of the best things I could recommend is go into property, but be careful if you're buying a property, and if you had to rent it for any reasons, not to rent it to a friend or friend's children or family. It's best to have it rented to strangers and make it a business.
Okay.
And you'll survive.
So research is everything. This happens in any business or any decision, any move-in. Sometimes you want to relocate your business, and your business where it was self-advertising, accessible. The people was mainly attending your business is from the area. You might move to an area what doesn't like that type of business or doesn't really cater for that sort of business, which could be your demise. So also again, it's a timing of your business. Again, when if you're going to some sort of business, for me it was martial arts. When I started in the beginning, is a trend of the mixed martial arts. It was starting to grow. I could see the pattern, so I tried to open up the first MMA gym I know in the town, and then from there, from strength to strength, and off my own publicity, allowed myself to grow at a phenomenal rate. That research, time, that can save you a lot of headaches, a lot of stress, and can give you loads of rewards. There's no enough time. And even when you have started your business, it's to constantly keep researching, keeping the eyes out, checking the laws, checking where you are, interest rates, everything around you. You're more in tune with life, I believe, and having the rewards, if they come to you, you're living life more like the fullest, and you reward yourself, you're feeling proud of yourself, because you're starting to learn how to conquer, master, and control the outcome of you, your life, and everything around you.
So how's your outlook now you've moved back to Jamaica? As a return?
Well,
everything's changed.
returning to Jamaica, which I did in 1990, I decided really and truly to go back after I lost my dad, and my mom was left on her own then. I thought, well, this is the time, being the only girl. I have brothers, 4 brothers, but I was the only girl and the oldest of the siblings. It was my responsibility to go back and make sure my mom was fine. And my dad had also left me well over 8 acres of property and a business place. So I had to return home to take over and manage all this. Unfortunately, Gilbert, the worst hurricane in history in Jamaica in '88, destroyed my property, the business property. But of course, the land is there until today. And after taking care of my mom, living in the capital, Kingston, had a wonderful life, a beautiful house. My mom passed away in 2000, which was the same year my son got married in Jamaica. And that was beautiful. I still think Jamaica was one of my best moves, but maybe again, if I had waited for another 2 years when the pound started rising and it went sky high, I would be able to afford to have a better life. Because when I arrived in Jamaica, the dollar was only 10 Jamaican dollars to £1, and 2 years later, it went to 100 Jamaican dollars to £1. So again, I missed the boat.
But in general, you've done well.
But generally, yes. And I had a much better life in Jamaica, and very healthy life, considering I suffered with hay fever right through the summer here in Jamaica, never had a problem.
Okay. So, considering now you're here, this is your son's end of his 50th birthday celebration, and today's actually your grandchild's 20th birthday. Long life, okay? I normally like to have tips. What would you, if you have to give 2 main tips to someone going through life, how to keep it happy, successful, moving forward, what would your 2 tips be? If you could think about something.
Well, I will be 73 on my next birthday. I was told I look much younger, so that means that I've been doing the right things. Tips that I would give one, I think one of the most important things, stress kills. So if you can do something stress-free, or if you're working, make it something you can enjoy. That way you won't have to put up with all the stress that is going to really age and kills you at the end of the day and gives you high blood pressure and strokes, because that's what stress does, everything. Secondly, I always eat healthy and exercise. Those two go together, most importantly, which I've always taught my children, and they've always seen me eating healthy and exercising.
This is Mark Weir. I hope you liked what I was covering today. If you do, like it, share it, and subscribe. Hope to catch you on the next episode.